Hey everyone. So today this video is going to be a little different. It's not really going to be me drawing things, but rather, I guess, like an art checkpoint to, I guess, well, this particular video is intended to show off the evolution of my art and whatnot from 2020 up until now, because it has changed quite a bit. It's not really much more complex than that, so we can get into it now. Okay, so before we go too far, I'd like to say that I've been drawing for probably as far as back as I can remember. Maybe around when I was 6 or 7. Probably, anyway. Maybe 5, not sure. But this is my first sketchbook, or my first major sketchbook that I dedicated to dinosaur art that I got back in 2020. And it is super mid. Honestly, the book itself isn't. The book itself is really nice, especially the texture on the front that I used for scale details once or twice. I just colored over that and it worked fairly well. But overall, this is a lot of how the artwork I did in here turned out. Not particularly great. And I did do more than just dinosaurs, such as Dicynodonts. My theropods I've always been pretty good at, as seen with like Therizinosaurus and Allosaurus. But Megalosaurus isn't really that far off than how I would draw it now, except for I would make it less spiky and definitely fix the arms. The hands are pronated and the legs. The feet are way too big because here's the ankle, that's the foot, those are the toes. Now, I am skipping over pages simply to get to some bigger projects or ones that I have remade later on. As with City Patty here, which I made when I was 13, I think either in March or April. I'm not 100% sure. Overall, it's not horrendous, but it is bad. At least I gave it feathers, but no shading, no coloring. And actually 4 years later, in 24, and also the first video I made here, I happened to draw City Patty again. And it's a lot better, which is, honestly, I find a little bit strange, because although in general my art had gotten better, I'd never practiced with any oviraptorosaurs like City Patty or Oviraptor, because I could just never get their heads right. So this progress here is honestly pretty impressive, if you ask me. Spinosaurus. Or maybe it's Oxalia. I don't know. Either those are basically the same thing, but from Africa and South America, respectively. But, yeah. I've definitely gotten better at Spinosaurus, and I don't mean detail-ways, but I meant this is like somewhere between the 1990s to 2009 depiction of it. I was very aware that Spinosaurus did not look like this at the time. I just never drew it accurately. So, yeah, I've definitely done better in terms of that more recently. Here's Ototus Megalodon. I was really into the Meg at the time. I still am. I still do like the Meg. The sequel is a little more iffy, but it's fine. And I'm actually a bit surprised that I started practicing with a little shading. Not a whole lot, but I did. But where I was going with that was, I'm actually surprised I got the body shape more accurate today, since Megalodon is believed to have been a lot longer and slimmer, kind of like a lemon shark, instead of fat and chunky like a great white. So the body shape I actually got correct 5 years ago when it would have been inaccurate. So that's honestly kind of cool. If anything, the head shape is off, and the pectoral fins are rather small. And I guess the tail's a bit thin too. This page isn't really much, it's just I was bored and wanted to draw dinosaurs in shape form. Like, just make shapes and then turn them into dinosaurs. So yeah, that was really this. Kind of fun, honestly. Oh, well, now. Rather interesting, I forgot I had Chianchusaurus inside this book. Once again, I'm doing a little bit of practicing with shading. Not really a whole lot. What is wrong? What is going on with his arm? Oh dear. Anyway, but yeah, this is, I said surprising because it also happens to be the very first animal I have drawn in my new paleo sketchbook, along with the two species of Alliaramus that make up the Alliaraman Tyrannosaur subfamily. But, like, overall, my old 2020 design for Chianchusaurus is honestly pretty good. It's not really that different. And would you look at that, we have another example of the 1990s to 2009 Spinosaurus design in my 2020 sketchbook. This time it's a lot more Jurassic Park themed, given the coloration. Not sure why I added blue or green, given that. And this time it has a comically large eye, a nasal crest, and admittedly the right shape, more or less, but not really the correct placement. It should be in front of the eye. And comically large feet, ankle, foot, toe, with what appears to be a severe lack of a tibia and fibula. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, so that was really all that I really wanted to share out of my 2020 sketchbook. In 2021, I did do some stuff in it, but I also drew some stuff on random sheets of paper, in this case, cardstock. This is of Carcharodontosaurus saharicus. It's unfinished. I'm not sure if I will finish it, simply because it kind of adds character of something in progress that never got finished. And it's not accurate, really. The upper jaw is fine, the lower jaw needs to be fixed. The teeth go way too far back, the eye's too big, it is much too spiky, and the fenestra, or holes in the skull that are used to both lighten the skull and add space for muscles, are not supposed to be visible like this, which I can definitely confirm I was going to draw. Back in 2020 into 21, I made some fan-made Mattel Dinosaur concept art, and typically, this is absolutely what this is, but for the most part, the rest of the art I made throughout that year also has this kind of style, where it is more accurate, admittedly, but the feet are typically still too big. The hands are definitely pronated, and the proportion, or the space between the arm and the leg, is generally really, really short and should be a lot longer. Funny enough, actually, in 2022 into 23, I did actually restart my entire list and made it more accurate, or at least most of the animals more accurate. Now we have 2022 stuff largely, and a lot of this stuff, I'm not really sure where most of my 2022 art went, but I know for a fact that a lot of my 2022 art did go to custom Mattel dinosaur figures, such as Acrocanthosaurus here, and I'm not going to show all of them, just some of them. Overall, immediately, there is good progress here. The shape of the skull is, typically speaking, a lot more accurate. The wrists are no longer pronated, however the fingers are not the correct length. The feet are considerably better in terms of size, and the tail also. Overall, the entire body is a lot more horizontal, as opposed to the really, really weird poses that I used to put them in. Even with some of my feathered dinosaurs, such as Utahraptor here, and Dakotaraptor, an amalgamation of turtles, fish, crocodiles, and probably a dromaeosaur, is a lot better. With these guys, I did more so fuzz, or how today I would draw, like, either proto-feathers or fur. Just a bunch of jagged stuff, especially on the wings. But on the tails themselves, I actually put effort into doing larger feathers. So it's not completely accurate even still, but it's better than it was. I will say, making fan-made Mattel concept arts for dinosaur figures did allow me to get a little experimentative, both with the species that I drew and the designs themselves, such as Ostafricosaurus here. I've never drawn this guy outside of this. I should, I really want to, I just haven't yet. The tail on this figure, concept-wise, I did make admittedly too short, and the arm is way too high up. It should be way down here, but it's fine. And this is, for Oxalia quilombensis, is a much more accurate depiction of a Spinosaur, or at least Spinosaurus or Oxalia, and except for the arm. It's not really supposed to be quadrupedal. For this is the stylized part, where I just made it like this, because of Mattel's Siamosaurus already being quadrupedal, and this is honestly closer to accurate anyway, so overall it's pretty good. I happen to have found another species I'm drawing more recently, Saraniops, a Carcharodontosaur. This figure is not, or this figure concept is not that awful. Once again, the arm is too high up, but overall, everything else considered, it's not a terrible design. And this is the progress here. I have fixed it. It was very noticeably off during the art showcase for 2024, so I did fix it. And it will more or less actually be these colors again. So, pretty cool, if you ask me, for the similarity yet time difference between drawing them. This also actually happens to be an animal that I have done more recently, and I'm actually still working on another one more detailed. This particular coloration for Ceratopsuchops, for a Mattel figure anyway, came in a dream. I'm being serious when I say that. I had a dream that Mattel made a new Spinosaur. I don't think the box was labeled, or if it was, I forgot, but it was this color, and so I turned it into Ceratopsuchops. They have since made Ceratopsuchops, just obviously not that color. And my current, I have drawn one already, but it was a lot small. It was a smaller figure design. It wasn't intended to be hyper detailed, but this is the current progress on the hyper detailed version. And admittedly, I am very impressed with it. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to color it. Okay, I actually found a little bit extra stuff I did in 2022 from an art summer camp, kind of. Yeah, I guess it was a summer camp. I did a lot of different stuff, but the two I'm showing you here are Dominion Giganotosaurus, which really isn't that bad. It could be better, but for the time, it's not too terrible. And Void Ghidorah paint. We did a little paint on the last day of the first week that I went. In 2023 in general, I wasn't feeling particularly artsy. If anything, my best work that year would have to be this Suchomimus skeleton, which was based on this picture I took at the Great Lakes Science Center when the Dinosaurs of the Sahara exhibit by Paul Sereno from the University of Chicago had his African dinosaur species on display. And so I'm very, very satisfied with the way this turned out. I did this actually not very long after joining the art class that I've been going to since then. And I would truthfully like to remake it, given my skills have grown quite a lot. Also, in general, in 2024, I did go to an art academy once or twice to, well, do art stuff. And this is one of the things we worked out with charcoal quite a bit. And so this is a section of the wall with some, like, heating piping and whatnot, and an air vent, air duct with a bunch of other stuff. Not usually what I would draw at all, but I'm actually very satisfied with the way that this did end up turning out. But yeah, overall, that was everything leading up to here. And that really leaves just two other sketchbooks I'm currently working on. This one, which has pieces I have shown off in the past, such as City Patty, and different shading styles, or a lot of different studies of a head statue with a corn nut glued to the top of it, or other stuff in general, like figure studies, or holding, or a hand drawing while holding something, in this case my Caprosuchus figure, or thumbnails for a specific drawing, cross-hatching, again with a sturgeon photo I took, perspective with benches, circular things, that kind of stuff. I've hinted a little bit that I have remade Spinosaurus, and in general made it more accurate based on the 2020 drawings I did of it, and that is correct, I have. This is well, you just saw 2024 version of Spinosaurus I did. This is an underwater view looking at one from below up at it as it swims through the water. This is based on the skeleton of Sobek, or at least this photo of Sobek that I took at the Field Museum. Overall, it's pretty good. I do like it. And then the other one that I have done so far, no, that's Lophistropheus, is this, which, funny enough, Spinosaurus is actually, so far, the only animal that appears twice, or more than once, in my new paleo sketchbook, so that's kind of fun. But this work was intended to be a mirror of the Delta Dromaeus drawing I did back in March. Well, I guess from January to March. And also as a kind of like homage to both Jurassic World Rebirth, hence the coloration, and Jurassic Park 3, since both films have Spinosaurus and both were released in July, hence when I did it. And then, of course, my more complete works, or my finished ones, or work in progress, in terms of more recent years, such as Australovenator here. Well, I guess Elaphrosaurus is still a work in progress. But Vulpes Chuzudingai, Mahajangasuchus, Abelosaurid skull references. Once again, Saraniops, Hyenodon, Ceratoseucops. You get the idea. But overall, yeah, this is the evolution of my art from 2020 until now. I have had art classes for about a year and a half, over a year and a half now, which is honestly why this is so good. I've gotten a lot of help from it. And I'm also going to college actually this fall to do more art-related stuff. So I'm really, really hoping to see how much better my artwork can get than this. But yeah, that was this video. Hope you enjoyed.